generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel, Dyad in the Rough. Today I'm talking about a news story that I've seen circulating around, and it's actually popped up in my news feeds quite often. And so I thought maybe we should talk about it, and then also talk about kind of my side of things and how my advice to all of you on how to try to better the experience. So what we're talking about today is there was a survey company called Lending Tree that surveyed over 2,000 US consumers about their trip to Disney. And specifically, this was asking parents with children that are under 18 when they go to Disney parks, what's kind of the financial burden that they take on after going on these trips. And they found that on average, the parents that take their kids to Disney take on almost $2,000 in Disney related debt. So what might that be? That could be, in my opinion, that is things that you didn't really plan for. So not sometimes, food that you might be eating in the parks. Maybe you walk by, a character dining that you weren't aware of, and then the kids want to go do that instead of your quick service meal. And so now that is way more expensive than the quick service meal. So there's some money you don't account for there. Uh, Souvenirs, the different experiences. So, like for instance, if you go to Disney and you weren't aware of the lightsaber building or the droid building experience, just the lightsaber one is like $250 a person. So that's a huge expense that you may not be aware of when you go to do that stuff. So there's tons of things that can, pop up and happen in the parks that you can't necessarily plan for. So like when Sarah and I go to Disney parks, uh, you know, typically we have an idea of what we want to spend while we are there, but there's always awesome other like souvenirs that we want to bring home or go ahead and try different foods that we weren't planning on. And so there's a whole bunch of things that can, factor into these trips that you can't necessarily plan for, but you can at least there's a way to try to plan for these, or at least plan for the worst. And so that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. Um, it did say in the survey, though, even though these families took on nearly $2,000 in debt after their trip with their family, that they didn't regret it. I will say I am a huge advocate for people should at least experience the Disney parks one time in their life. They are amazing. They are tons of fun, and they are not just for kids. There's so many things there for adults. So, I think the big piece of this is, even though it's a ton of money, it is a ton of fun, as long as you know what you're doing. Because a lot of people, if you don't know what you're doing in those parks, I can see where you could waste a lot of time and then not do the fun stuff. So anyway, so what we're here to talk about is kind of my advice looking at the a Disney trip and what you can do to better plan and better budget for what's going on. So here it is. So first things first, how are we actually going to pay for this stuff? So if you aren't aware, most of the stuff associated with your Disney trip in the parks can be paid for with Disney gift cards. So why am I emphasizing so much with Disney parks? Well, if you haven't been to Disney before, there is a place called like Disney Springs. And what that is that's like a big shopping center where there's tons of different types of stores and tons of different types of foods. Well, not all those stores and not all of those restaurants participate with the Disney gift card. So you have to kind of, weigh your options for what you're purchasing there. If you're purchasing stuff from, you know, Disney stores that are down there, then you're fine. Or Disney quick service meals down there, then you're fine. It's just you got to figure out which ones are which. But when you're in the parks, you can use those gift cards for just about literally anything. I have never come across something that I couldn't use them for. And so when you start thinking about all your expenses, I mean, of course, there's the park tickets, there's the food that you're going to potentially eat there, there's the souvenirs that you want to buy, there's the experiences and the excursions you want to add to your trip. And although it's not saving an insane amount of money, there are ways to save money off the top. So without even looking at Disney specials, what can you use? The Disney gift cards you can use to purchase. There's so many deals at retailers, not only like, Costco and Sam's Club and stuff like that, where you can buy in bulk, but there's also places like Meijer and Target that are in our area that you can get discounts as well. So, for instance, if you go to shop at Target, and you have the red card, which whether you have the debit card or the credit card version, you get 5% off your purchase, including gift cards. So if you go to Target and you buy Disney gift cards, that would, be the amount of, let's say your trip is, I don't know, $4,000, okay? The whole thing. I mean, that's kind of low if you have a family. But if you're like Sarah and I, that's kind of right around where it is. So if your trip is $4,000 and you buy all the gift cards that you need from Target to cover this amount, and you use your Target card, you will save $200 just because you used your Target card to pay for these gift cards, and now you use the gift cards to pay for your trip. There you go, 200 free dollars. That if you had just paid, straight from your bank or straight out of pocket, there's no way you would have gotten that $200. So if you go to Target and you use your 5% off with your card, you can save with that. Also, you can also look for a thing. I know Costco has had deals where if you buy, somewhere around $100 worth, and you can get about 10 to 15% off on those gift cards, depending on what the deal is, which is a lot of money. That's even more. So if we get 10% off, then that's $400 that you're saving as opposed to, just paying all out of pocket. And that $400, not only are you saving it, but like even if you're budgeting for the full 400 or for full 4,000, you can take that 400 and go spend it on some cool souvenirs or upgrade some of your quick service meals. There's a whole bunch of ways to cut corners with some of those costs. The probably the one that's uh it's not harder to understand, but it's kind of difficult to keep track of, I would say, is, for instance, we live in the Midwest. We live in Michigan. There's tons of Meijer in Michigan, and Meijer has M Perks. And what M Perks does is there's different coupons that you can clip, kind of like Target with Target Circle. I'm sure there's different department stores in your area that have reward systems too. And for us, for Meijer, they always have this thing where it's if you buy $50 in gift cards, then you'll get $5 back in points towards your M Perks. So if you think about it, buying $50 and you get $5 back, that's 10% off your trip because you're going to use that $5 on your groceries, something that you would have normally used it on anyways. But recently, what's even better is Meijer has been doing $7.50 back for every $50 gift card. And that's 15% back on your trip, which is awesome. If you think about 15%, now, granted, you can only buy certain amounts of the Meijer gift cards at a time. You can only buy $500 worth at a time. But let's say you and whoever is going on the trip, both of you could get that. If you have a friend or family member that doesn't want to go but doesn't mind letting you use their rewards, well, then you can go ahead and do that. And then, they would pay you the amount of the points so that you get the money and then they can use the points that go towards on their account. But thinking about that 4,000, like if your trip was $4,000 and you did this thing for Meyer and you just kind of paced yourself up until your trip, that's $600 that you would save. So that's another way to cut corners. So tons and tons of different ways to do it. Now, what's the other big one that can help you save some money? So let's say you book your trip, okay? A lot of times, even like us, we book our trips as soon as it's available because a lot of the availability with hotels and the dining places and whatnot, a lot of those fill up as soon as they become available to go. Well, what we do is we book it, but then we watch because if you watch for Disney, like if you book through Disney and you watch for other deals that pop up. So let's say you had no deals. You just paid the price that they asked for your trip. You booked it. And then it comes along and they say, 10% off if you have this hotel and that happens to be yours. Well, then you could call up Disney and be like, "Hey, I see on your website that you're now offering this on the exact same thing that I have. Can you do the price adjustment?" And they will. So watch for those promotions that come out that fit what you have. So, sometimes it doesn't work out 100% because let's say your trip is the 1 through the 5th and their discount is from the 6th through the 10th, well, then you're out of luck. But you want to make sure to watch for the dates that you're going and see if it matches your itinerary. Or, let's say, for a couple extra bucks based on the sale, maybe you could have that much better of a hotel. Or maybe you could have the Genie Plus thrown in for free. Who knows? Or a dining plan thrown. I've had that before where I booked our trip, and then later on, they said if you do these dates with this combination of things, you'd get a free dining plan. I did that before and then just called them up and then boom, had the dining plan for free. So watch for gift card deals because those can help out a lot. And then watch for the promotions that happen within Disney as well, because that can help you save a ton of money. So those are my tips, and hopefully it helps some of you out. If you have any questions about how to potentially do some of this stuff, just drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you on my opinion. And if I can help, great. If not, I'll try to point you in the right direction. But if you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Drops a like if you like the video and drops a comment letting us know what your tips and tricks are for saving money at Disney. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.